Thank you all for tuning in to Breathing is Highly Dangerous. We are given our first breath, working toward and hoping for the next, all the while fearing our last. Welcome to the show.
No.
The event.
A little bit more grand.
The movement.
That's better, I like that.
The movement of the century.
Well, movement, that may be a little bit much. How about a conquest to ferment the ones ignoble that try to impinge their iniquitous veracity to our thoughts?
Look, man, do you want me to do this or not? Either way, I get paid.
Sorry, go ahead.
We've come to ask why, but never satisfied with a simple answer. Discovering the not-so-secret secrets. Playing coy into the ploy, kicking every rock, smiling with joy. Here is your host. He puts the U in unusual, the P in pterodactyl. Not just why, he also asked how. If you suffer from
Hippopotamonstros esquipedaliophobia.
please leave now. No one will believe you. I give you Emmanuel Manny Stewart.
Thank you. All of you.
So we're getting back into the Choice series. This was actually filmed exactly the same day as the other video. So at the end I say, welcome to the first part, but this is really the second part. But thank you for watching. Let's get right into it. We're talking about entitlement and expectations along with other things. Just go ahead and listen up.
Right, so that takes us to a new introduction, right? An introduction of this idea here. Or not introduction, but the involvement of this idea. If we want someone else to make a choice for us in our best interest, right? We put someone in place to do that. Right? We expect that. Our expectation. An expectation that we have based on these certain criteria, based on these, all these have passed. So you are willingly accepting that this person is going to make the decisions for you, and you expect them to make them in your best interest. Right? So that expectation is an entitlement that you have. You feel like you're entitled to the best results because you expect the best results, because you have given this person authority to make the best choices for you. So you expect this person to do all the heavy lifting and the heavy thinking for your own life. A life that you're going to be living, that you're going to have the results of, regardless if they make the best choice or not. But that's what you expect, and that's what you feel entitled to. So where does that originate? Right? What is this idea of someone makes the choices for me because I feel like they can make a better choice than I do? Where does that originate? Do you know the... Okay, so it originates from child to parent relationship. Child-parent relationship. Child-parent relationship. Because you are not able to take care of yourself amply, there is someone responsible for making the choices in your best interest. Wholly. And then they'll soon give you more responsibility, more and more responsibility, and showing that you are able to do it for yourself, right? The rescinding their obligation to you, keyword, remember that, obligation, all right? They're rescinding their obligation to make choices in your best interest once you show that you are capable, or once it's demonstrated that you are capable of making certain decisions. And you can choose to whether to do them or not, and there will be consequences if you follow them or not too, because you are still, they are still having authority over you, right? And that is inherent authority, because you are reliant on them for your most basic needs, for your rudimentary needs that you cannot yet provide for yourself, or do not yet provide for yourself, and you expect them to, and you feel entitled to, because they have that authority, and you are no longer, you are not currently upholding that for yourself, right? That was a lot of talk, that last part, but yes. So that's where that comes from. That sense of expecting an authority figure that is placed to make those decisions, make choices in your best interest. It comes from child-to-parent relationship. Now, the way it's supposed to be, the optimum conditions under these is that the birth parents, the biological parents, the one that created the child, that created the responsibility, are now, they are obligated inherently. It is their natural duty to then provide for this child that they have created, to make decisions in the best interest so they live the longest and most fulfilling. The child is then capable of living the longest and life to its fullest, right? And it will be teaching that child how to develop skills to take care of itself in the future, right? And the best conditions are two parents, optimum condition. That the responsibility is not all on one. In terms of responsibility, not obligation. Obligation is wholly and entirely both. And they should give each 100%. It's not like they're both giving 50%. No. If you're both giving 50%, right? And you're supposed to be operating as a whole, then each of you are, as a whole, you're giving 50% to the child. You are supposed to be giving 100% each. Combine that, and it's 100% of parenting to the child. So if you rescind certain responsibilities, you both have the obligation and should have the same responsibility. You have the same responsibility. And you should be engulfing that child in all the complete knowledge, right? And complete and the most that you can give. Not just what the half you decide to give. It's like, no, just leave that for something. Do everything together. It's supposed to be. The optimal conditions is allocated responsibility, a shared responsibility, but you both have full responsibility over this thing together. The reality of the matter of this entitlement to making choices in the best interest and the obligation to make decisions in the best interest of this child. In reality, it's not like that. It's very skewed. We are not working at optimum conditions at the largest capacity possible. And that is wholly by decision of individuals that then create the majority, which affect the entire society, globally, so nationally, internationally, all right? So what's the solution? Education. Awareness. Right. But let's go back to the actual problems so we can identify the problem before we give a solution. We have to identify all the constants in the problems before we can have a solution. Because if you don't have all the numerals, if you're not aware of all the characters, the constants in the problem itself, then you are not ever going to get the correct solution. You can guess, but you guessing and making the best decision logically, right? What are the odds? What are the odds of that happening? Guessing and making the best decision. guessing and making the right decision is and this we gotta realize life is not three-card Monty. It's not. No one. The things, the optical illusions, the trickery, the control over is our so the forced hand, right, is a hand we allowed to be placed upon us in our life, in the life currently. There is no control that anything has over us that we do not give that control. So we rescind our own autonomy, our own ability to make choices, and we give that authority to someone else that we expect to make the best decisions for us.
I'm generalizing and speaking about the authorities that are given the power, not the authorities that have taken the power, because authorities that are given power happens most frequently. So listen up, I'm going to speak on that later on, but just understand that I am considering the authority that is given power. I know that some force a way into place, but that is not what happens most frequently today.
So in reality, what happens? Just because you give someone the authority does not mean the authority figure is obligated to operate in your best interests. So we need to understand, who are we giving our authority to? Do they have a personal integrity that will make them feel personally and mentally obligated to provide the best results for you and everyone that they are making decisions for? Or are they not? And the fact that people do not dive deeper into the people they give the authority to make decisions for them is highly and completely dangerous, and their complaining is invalidated because they made the choice themselves. They were tricked because they did not research. It's not like this information not available. And if you don't know, and if you are putting your trust in something that you do not know, that is called faith. We should not have faith in man. We should not have faith in man. Understand what has happened throughout time. We should not have to have faith in man. Man, we are physically able to see. We are physically able to observe everything that happens. If something is observable and you do not see it, that means, if something has happened and you did not observe it, and you don't know about it, that is because there is a certain choice, there's a certain access that you do not have to that information. It does not mean that information is not available, right? It could have been hidden, but the information is still available, right? You did not, there was just things, obstacles in your way that you did not want to overcome, did not feel like you had to, due to circumstances, all this stuff. Oh, the way that we give our own choice, says we give someone else the authority to make our choices. Every decision they make, every result of the decision they make affects us, right? And if it happens to be a negative effect, that is on us. And the fact that we choose not to then rescind that authority from that person immediately is not trusting, not a mistake, right? The choices that you make are not mistakes. You don't accidentally make a choice. You don't accidentally, you purposely, there is intent. You expected this result, right? But the constants were not substantial enough to create this result that you wanted. You did not put enough effort in to getting this result. Therefore, there was no mistake made. You just did not put in the effort. There was something missing. You did not accidentally miss something. You missed it. You did not mistakenly miss something. You just missed it. Was it something that was there that you weren't looking for? Like, we're supposed to be looking for everything at all times. Well, it's supposed to be. I mean, I guess that's sort of subjective, but I think that's subjective to me. In terms of life, because we're living on this earth and we know what has happened in the past. Oh, why should we not learn from the very results that we can observe? We can observe results. Then how do we also, what's most important? What's most important other than observing results? Other than observing results that we do not want? If we know the result, what do we have to change in order for it to change for us? The constants. What I said earlier. You look at what contributed to the result.
So we do not make the same mistakes.
You leave no page unturned, no rock unflipped, no button unbuttoned, no hat lifted up, no hat kept down. You flip everything over. Do you have to be respectful about it? Depends on who's guarding it. Depends on the amount of security that is protecting that information. But if that information is so secure for a certain reason, and someone doesn't want you to have access to it, and then you decide to stop wanting to gain access to that particular information, if that information is instrumental in you making a certain change, but then you decide to try to solve the problem without the information that is being kept from you, do you think you're going to come up with the best result? Right? So apply this to wherever you are. This is internationally. This is not just for the Western world. Which I keep saying Western world because I'm speaking English, right? And that's who is going to be able to most readily receive and understand the information or the awareness that I'm given. But I want this to be an international network where these things can be translated. So if you take this information and spread it, and then we can cohesively join together and provide even more information and more in depth of specifics. Because I personally have specifics of certain things. Those are things that there's no purpose in me sharing them as me, as who I am. I am a nobody. No one's looking at me.
People have no reason to see me as credible, which I understand. The information I share from me means nothing to anyone else that does not know where the information comes from. If there been something else has been perpetuated for their entire life, and then one single person tells them otherwise, and that person says they chose to dig deeper, how do they know they're telling the truth when everyone else is saying else? Which is why I understand that, but it doesn't take away from the truth in itself.
Do I want that to happen? I don't know. I just know I don't want to be a puppet, right? I am not going to subject myself to having people make decisions for me that have a bad result for me. Why would I do that? I am consciously aware of every choice I make and its potential result in the future. The long-term the choices I'm making every day and the long-term effects I am considering every single day and every single moment. And I believe the majority of the world does not, and they should. So the authorities that we have, they do not have the integrity to provide the choices and decide choices that are within the best interest of everyone in society. Maybe for themselves. Because guess what? Just like there's a foot on our throat, an elbow on our neck. Yeah, whatever. they could have the same thing with someone above them. And guess what? If they feel like they're being threatened to make certain decisions to keep themselves safe, oh, I bet your bottom dollar, what do do when you feel threatened? You're saying, oh, but this influenced me someone's forcing me. Not force. If you're doing a physical action and your body is in your control and you are moving without influence, again, influence, something that is not physically altering your state. Influence, which is mentally, you're making a choice out of a thought that something else will happen or a certain result will be achieved, right? Influence, if there's a threat to you and you are influenced to make decisions on the behalf of something that you do not want, on behalf of something you do not support, but your life is threatened otherwise, or an idea or something else is threatened otherwise, you are going to then want to have that result. Like I said earlier. So other people are experiencing these same things, and these people with higher powers, more power than us, that maybe have had the idea that we have, but have gone to these other positions and they had these same threats, right? You do not think they're going to do the things that are in the best interest of themselves and their families. But you figure, oh, there's some good people, right? Yes, there's some good people. And good people get threatened. And good people want to live too. Good people don't want to be martyrs. There should not be a modern day martyr. You know why? Because people should not want to kill each other. But people do. And that's a result of people having power. And how do they get that power? Power is given. Power can only be taken, that is by force. But current power, current positions of power are given. What is the most powerful thing right now? It's not violence, sorry, it's not war. It's not war, it's not strong arming. What is it? It's the dollar, it's the money, it's the finances. The most powerful people are the most affluent, the most rich. How are they attaining their wealth? By the constituents, by the people that are putting money into a market. They are providing a service that you have been convinced that you need, when it is something that you may not. Who else is telling you this? I'm not the only one saying this, but am I going to be the only one that doesn't care about if someone wants to kill me? Guess what? I do not. Therefore, if I do not do everything within my ability to defend myself, then that is my choice. That is their free will, their ability overriding my ability. I mean, overriding my unequippedness. But if I am prepared for that, and they still best me, that is because they have used their free will and their time to overwhelm and to use their free will to commit something evil. Because they initiated a violent act, which I would never, because it's evil and it's not in the best interest of everyone, and especially that person. I'm still considering the best interest of the people that try to harm me as well. I consider their best interest. The best interest for them is not being evil. Right? Right. So, but me personally, I can't sell my soul. No, my soul cannot be bought. My soul cannot be bought by another man. If someone forces me into change, that's forcing me into chains. You can't force me into slavery. If I do something in the best interest of my family, I'm not being forced to do anything. I'm consciously making decisions out of an effort to do something that is in the best interest of someone else and myself. Because doing this best interest of someone else, that is morally correct, is in the best interest of myself. But if my decisions contribute to an interest that is not the best for someone else, that is not going to result in a potential growth in a positive manner for humanity or for someone in particular, that is morally correct, no one can buy me. No one can convince me to commit an act of evil. Right? No, that's why if you are the same way, I understand. See, people can think, so many other people thought that. There is a life experience that I've had beyond the scope of imagination for most people that have lived a life far longer than mine. And my path and my statement has been proven in tests. Tests meaning things that I've had in life experience. Substantial amount of them. I cannot be convinced to commit. I can no longer be convinced. At one point, yes. Absolutely. Like most people. You can be convinced to commit without knowledge of it. If you don't know what an evil act is, because someone teaches you a certain way, you have to unteach yourself. You have to be willing to do that. That's all. How do you understand if something's in the best interest of somebody? First, the best means the most, I'm considering the most positive result. Morally absolutely concerned. The best result is one that nobody is harmed, and the only result is a positive result, and the only outcome is a positive outcome. In the most efficient way possible. Most timely manner, that is the best, right? The best way to do good. There's a best way to do bad as well, right? The best way to do bad is literally massacre the entire earth. Which, by the sounds of it, is not impossible. But why hasn't it been done? Because massacring the entire earth, people are too selfish to put their own self at risk to kill everybody else. I get that you have to understand the mind of evil. The moment we understand that there is a constant in our problem, in our issue, that we can do something about, no matter how hard it is, we have to understand. We have to put in the effort to remove that constant so our result will change. Without that constant being removed, that result will not change. The potential results with the constants involved will not change. No matter the method of which you're using to solve the equation. I'm telling you, this is math. Everything in life is calculable. It's intelligent form. I cannot do it by myself. Well, I can't do it to the most by myself, like I've said before. And if we understand that something is a result, that with something we're involved in, when it's still in the process of it, that is going to achieve a bad result, while we're in the midst of solving the equation, we have every right to change a constant so we have a different result, a different solution. Someone has convinced most of the world that you cannot change your answer. You cannot change that you're not allowed to change, that you're not allowed to rescind, that you're not allowed to correct yourself in the midst of an action. Someone has convinced us that we cannot rescind consent in any manner. You can say, yes, it's okay. for the moment. You understand then in the long run it's not going to be good for you. In that immediate moment, you have made a decision for yourself. And if you choose not to fulfill and live out that choice by staying consistent with that thought to achieve the result that you now want, so you do not have a decision that you regret, the moment you do that, and then you allow, and then someone convinces you otherwise to stay within a choice that you already made, right? The moment you do that, then you are now conflicted over whether or not you are forced to do something, or you consented to it. There's a bee by me. Hey, I'm good. I'm real good. I usually try to fight bumblebees. I'm not gonna. When I was younger, I used to fight them. They get too close. But now I just accept. I'm in their area, right? Nature has its choices too. No, but you are then conflicted. When there should be no amount of time in which you go by confused, unless you're under the influence of some substance, which then now is a choice on yourself to be under influence and making decisions that, okay, no. Let's not do that. Do not confuse yourself. That's why you make decisions that are best for you at all times. Do not go under the influence when they're right, or heavily under the influence where you are unable to make the best choices for yourself. Because it should not be a conflicting thing in your own mind whether or not you are forced to do something or not. Whether or not if you didn't want to do it and you do nothing to physically engage in that action on your part, then it was force. If you gave a communication followed by physical action, and then you were influenced to engage in an action that you wanted to do because of the influence, because of an achieved result, it was not force. You were influenced, and that is on you. Whether or not that person has high integrity for using a leverage over you, some leverage, or using a potential, using a threat over you, to get you to influence you to make a decision that is not in your best interest, not that you didn't want to do, you want to do it, but not in your best interest, the integrity of that person is foiled. They are repugnant. They are disgusting. You're not allowed about to like what I'm saying. But what is the result of it, and you have regret under influence, you're disgusting too. If we can say those about that person, yes, have them take the responsibility for their actions. And now you take yours. Now you take yours. Anything you say about that person that was in the same situation as you, when you make the same decisions under the influence of something, if it was not under physical influence, it was not under physical force, and it was just mental influence and persuasion, you made the choice. There's nothing to be confused about in that regard. There shouldn't be a conflicting argument in your head. You can have regret all you want. Start making better decisions from now. From this point. The result, once your equation has a result, you cannot change the result of the equation. You can be presented with new equations and understand. If it's the same one, then change the constant that's going to make you get the same result. Think ahead. Use the tools that I shared earlier in this video to get to that point. This is the start of a series. I'm going to help you understand these things more in depth in further videos. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Be blessed, stay blessed, and trust all truth. Thank you.